I am the Information Marketing Officer for the Thunder Bay CEDC, where I manage the Thunder Bay Lifestyle brand. Through our Instagram, which has a loyal following of over 20,000 followers, and our newly developed website, thunderbaylifestyle.ca. We proudly showcase our city as the #1 attraction and engagement tool. Marketing is one of the most powerful tools small businesses have, but also one of the most challenging things to get right. And today, I'm excited to moderate this panel of talented and amazing local marketers. This session, we will explore practical strategy, insider tips, and real solutions from our panel of experts to help you cut through the noise, connect with customers, and grow your business. I will now pass it over to our panelists to introduce themselves. Jarret?
Yeah, Jarret Popowich. I know a lot of familiar faces here. Born and raised Thunder Bay. Worked in different organizations, companies over the years. Currently the marketing manager at Westfort Productions, which is the family business. And also entrepreneur. I own a gym, both businesses in the heart of Westfort.
My name is Hernan Galvez. I come from Peru. I see some familiar faces here. So I have a big background in the media business. 11 years working for a huge company, #1 company, media outlet in Peru. Around 2 million people watching, over 15 journals, TV channels. So that's where I basically built my career. Right now I'm the marketing manager at Secure Orbit. It's a construction company. They own 5 brands, Northwest Fencing, Tejero Vergetor, Shield Powder Coating, Armagate, and Secure Orbit. So I'm in charge of all that. I'm here with my family, happy to all of you about my experience.
Hi, I'm Brook Dallaire, owner of Sociable Solutions. I moved here about 10 years ago from Minnesota, and I quickly fell in love with this town and the surrounding area. We focus on marketing and events, and I come with about 14 years of experience in digital marketing and event services. Previously to moving to Thunder Bay, I worked for the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, State Parks and Trails, quite a mouthful, as their digital marketing specialist, and helped with the Minnesota State Fair, if you're familiar with that, running one of the big exhibits there, which saw about 500,000 people over a 12-day span, so it's pretty big. And I'll give it to Jana.
Awesome, so getting started with the first question, Jarret, we're gonna pass it to you. With so many businesses competing for attention, what's one simple but effective way small businesses can really cut through the noise and make sure their message actually gets noticed?
Thinking of this last night, I think the biggest thing, if you have to take one thing away, is we have to be hyper focused, just in terms of who we're talking to and how we talk to them. It's slippery slope when we try and be everything to everyone. And often what happens when we do that is we really reach and impact no one. And so I think that would be my encouragement is, yeah, obviously we want to promote what we do, what we sell, what we serve, but who are we trying to reach? And we need to speak directly to them, as direct as we can. I wear a couple different hats here, so I like to I'll give you some examples here. I own a gym. We do a lot of training. For us, we learned early on that it's not enough to sell just getting your dream physique. It's not enough for us to sell weight loss. It's not enough for us to sell just getting fit. We had to kind of narrow in and get hyper-focused, and what that looked like for us was if you are 55, feeling like you're 65 and aging too quick, we want to help you feel like you're 50. And we're selling longevity and wellness. And that's just one example of how we had to go, instead of just weight loss, everyone's doing weight loss, how can we really dive in and help you? And what that's meant for us, though, is being okay excluding certain demographics. And that's maybe the hardest part about getting hyper-focused is, we don't want to exclude people. No one likes doing that, especially in society. We're in a very inclusive society, but in business and in marketing, you really need to hyper-focus and be okay with not reaching everybody for the sake of actually selling your product, selling your service to the scale I think you would want. One other example might be, we have a lot of moms at our gym who are training and they say, I can't keep up with my kids. And it's like, okay, I don't want to just help them get fit. It's like, I want you to be 2 steps ahead of your child, not 1 step behind. So again, I exclude anyone under 30 years old. I exclude anyone over 50 years old when I'm talking about young kids, but I have a greater impact with that audience, and I'm able to really capture their attention, I think, in a way great farther than further than if I'm just trying to speak to everybody.
Fantastic insight. Thank you so much for that, Jarret. Brooke, we're going to pass it to you. Talk about some digital marketing essentials. If a business could only focus on 1 or 2 digital marketing channels in 2025, which would you recommend and why?
I would recommend email marketing and short form video content for social media such as Reels, YouTube Shorts, or TikTok. Email marketing still maintains as one of the highest ROI tools out there. It allows you to have direct and personal contact with your own audience, and you get to bypass all those unpredictable algorithms, which is an entirely different conversation when you're talking about social media algorithms and paid advertising. If you can build a quality email list, it's your audience that allows you to nurture those connections, offer a variety of different things or promotions, and it allows you to stay top of mind with everybody in your audience there. It also is like a low cost. Other than your time, a lot of these platforms are fairly cheap for given the amount of people that you can connect with and how often you can use it. And my suggestion would be to keep the email short. Our attention span is short across the board. It's the shortest it's ever been in human history. So keeping your emails short, but also how you're adding value to your clients and to the customers who are opening them. No one wants to read a 3-paragraph email talking about how your day went. They want to know what value you're adding to their life and how you can help them solve their problem. The second thing, and I think Jarret will probably talk about this later too, and they're great at it, Westfort Productions, is short form video content, because that is right now where the attention lives. If you can communicate your brand personality, add value or humor, or even better yet, authenticity in less than 30 seconds, you are gonna be winning. You're on the winning team. You can do things like demonstrations, behind the scenes moments, which are, people love to see what's going on, any quick tips or whatever it may be, which just is a constant reiteration of helping you build connection and also helping you establish your brand personality through that, ultimately helping you grow your audience. So that being said, if you can use short form video content to help you grow, and then combine that with email marketing to help you connect and sell, right there you have a pretty solid, affordable strategy as a small business owner without spending thousands of dollars a month.
Awesome, short and valuable. I love it. Hernan, we're going to pass it to you for some budget-friendly strategies. Small businesses often have tight marketing budgets. What are some high-impact, low-cost marketing tactics that you've seen work well?
If we talk about budget, the most common way to find a budget for a small business is a percentage of the revenue. Usually, it's between 2 to 10%, depending on if you are a B2B company. You can use between 2 to 5. If it's a B2C company, you can use between 5 to 10 around. But small businesses, like the very beginners, very new entrepreneurs, they don't need that big or that massive budget. I will suggest them to use 2 things, or to have in mind 2 things. One is something that Jarret just mentioned, hyper focus, being authentic. It's very important. And the other one is consistency. Those 2 elements can challenge the biggest budget from bigger companies. The other thing that I will suggest as a budget-friendly option is Google Business Profile. It's free and it's a great tool. Basically, people, when they will look for a product or a service, they will go online. And it's also connected to Google Maps, and it also can give you reviews. You can post in it, put your photos, present your products or services. That's another good one to use. As Brooke just mentioned, short videos show how authentic you are, present to yourself. I believe that in a small community like Thunder Bay, people will support local people. And encourage also your clients to tag you, to give you a review, to take a photo, to use a hashtag that will help you to promote your business or your product. I guess that would be some tips.
Amazing, thank you so much. Brooke, we're gonna go back to you for common mistakes. What's a common marketing mistake small businesses make, and how can they avoid it?
That's a great question. Okay, so one of my most common conversations I have with small business owners, now mind I work with a lot of small businesses that are usually 10 employees or under, sometimes 5 or under, or solopreneurs. And I get it. And so what we have, these conversations we have is usually they're trying to do too much or they're trying to do too little. And what I mean by too little is they're posting on social media and wondering why it's not working, wondering why their business isn't growing. When they're doing too much, they're spreading themselves really thin by trying to be everywhere at once, but without actually knowing what's working. And you're wasting your time. That's an inefficient use of time. I hate wasting time. Don't do that. I bring out this, I wish I would have given it to you, I didn't think of it, but everyone knows what a bicycle tire looks like, right? Okay, we have the rim, we have a hub, and we have spokes. So let's use this. Think of a bicycle tire. Okay, the hub is your why. It is your business. It's what drives your business, all right? That's you, your big why right there. Now the spokes are your channels. It's your mediums. It's your marketing strategies, all right? The outside circle, the rim, is the synergy, the connection, and how it all flows together. So if you have one spoke on your bicycle tire, a social media posting strategy, your tire will collapse. It's inevitable, it will go nowhere. So let's look at what other options there are. What other options are there? Let's use, I have a friend who owns a Pilates studio in town. She's like, I need more business. Okay, well, what are you doing? I'm posting on social media. Cool, great. What else are you doing? We came up with a bunch of ideas. For example, a guest speaker at a local event, a collaboration for a giveaway with another business that's like-minded. I'm like, you have this space, you own a studio space. What are you doing with it? Well, Pilates class, yeah, but what else are you doing with it? Okay, so she opened up and she did a community-driven little mini fitness like fair, craft fair, brought in local vendors, brought in other local people, got new people through her door, introduced her business. She started offering candlelight, I think it's like light stretching by candlelight. So it's candlelight Pilates and candlelight stretching as a new way to reach different audiences and get people connected with her brand. So my point is there's a lot of other things that you can be doing. Maybe you want to set up a booth at a place like this. Maybe you want to host and try a new event or a workshop or a collaboration. How else are you getting your business and your brand out there other than just posting on social media? And making sure that it's consistent and it all is coming together to make the rim so everything folds smoothly.
Thank you, Brooke. That was extremely insightful. Jarret, we're going to hand it back to you. How can small businesses with limited resources craft a clear and memorable brand story that resonates with their audience?
That is the question. Right?
Repeat it.
Thanks for giving me the hard one. I wrote a few things down because I tend to ramble, but there's a few things that come to my mind pretty quickly because I think sometimes we're too quick to just post. And I think social media quickly just because that's the realm I live in for the most part in terms of video content. And we're so quick to just spew out content and forget the basics of how to tell a good story. And we really need to be intentional about the stories that we're telling, which is not the sale you're running or the promo or the product that you're pushing. It's really the end goal of what impact is that service or product having on my customers and my clients. And that's where we need to start with. So I kind of just wrote down kind of 4 quick things here. We have to start with the why or with the purpose. Why are we doing this in the first place? And like Hernan, we've had the pleasure of working with his businesses. He sells garage doors, not the most exciting thing, but what is he doing? He's selling security and he's selling curb appeal and he's selling status, and those are things that resonate with people, and those are the ends, and the door is really just the means to get there. And so I would just encourage you, we start with the purpose. For us at Westfort, it's not we just make great professional videos. That's really not it at all. We love making content that stands out and gets attention. So that's where our own starts. So I just encourage you, ask that question for yourself. And what is your end and what is your purpose? Because that needs to be, I think, the heart of the stories that you tell. So then 2, I think we move on to how to craft the story. And this one, there's a lot of different ways. This could be an hour on its own. I'll give you kind of 3 things to think through in terms of crafting stories. One is we start with the problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? What are the gaps? What are your clients' pain points, frustrations? Because that's the need, and that's where we start. 2, we come back to the purpose. You fill in those gaps with why you exist. And 3 is the outcome or the transformation. So I'll just walk you through what this looks like for Westfort. 1, what's the pain point? Companies don't know how to market themselves, and they put out really bad content. Not you, but in general, right? Yours is great. I checked all of yours before I came here. But that's the pain point, is people have no idea how to put out content that will engage people. So where do we come in? Like, we love creating professional content. We love helping our clients stand out and take them from really mediocre content that's noise to something that impacts people and resonates with people. And then 3, the outcome, well, our outcomes speak for themselves just in terms of viewership and attention rates and click-throughs and shares, and I don't need to bore you with that stuff. But that's just our example. It's basically our elevator pitch. What's yours? You really need to be able to answer that in 30 seconds or less. And that's where your story starts, I think, online. 2 more. 3 is, and you can shut me down anytime you want to mute my microphone. 3 is, you have to use authentic visuals and voice, because people see through the BS really quickly. There's so much noise out there. If you're not being authentic, they're gonna scroll right past, if not just turn you off completely. And you don't have a lot of opportunity to win online brand loyalty. If they don't like what you have to say, you might never get that opportunity to get that impression back, right? So be authentic with both your visuals and your messaging. Be human. And if you're in maybe a more technical industry or a medical field, there's maybe less permission to be superhuman. It might be sanitized, but I think a lot of us in the local business community have the opportunity to take some chances and be a bit riskier, just in terms of the messaging and the visuals that we use, because that's how you're going to stand out. And the last one here is show them, don't just tell them. And I think that's the big one, is where it's so easy just to push product and push sales and push promo, but we need to be showing client testimonials. And I'm not talking about like a designed graphic. I'm talking about photos. I'm talking about videos to celebrate your wins. How is your product or your service impacting people? You need to show your team. You need to show behind the scenes. I don't know if we're the greatest example of this. We have a lot of fun on our social media, but we try and balance basically posting our polished work and then office antics. And somewhere in the middle, you'll find us, and that works for some and it doesn't work for everybody. But find out for you what is behind the scenes look like, because that's really going to build. It just shows your character, shows some personality, and kind of humanizes the brand. And the last one is just, you need to show content, tell stories that highlight your values. What's important to you, your community sponsorships, your partnerships. What are you doing for good outside of just trying to sell? Because if all you do is sell, 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 you just become noise, and people shut you down, turn you off pretty quickly.
Awesome, thank you, Jarret. That's fantastic. Hernan, passing it back to you on measuring success. How should small business owners measure whether their marketing is actually working? What metrics matter most?
Yeah, so I remember when the owner of the company that I worked for, he said to me, "Hey, I've heard from a friend about the commercials we're doing," and that can be a way to measure the success of if you're reaching people that you want to reach or not. I will say it can be very confusing, the data world, as Jarret mentioned, very scary. That's why I would say only focus on 3 metrics in general. The first one will be visibility, just to understand how are people looking for you, how people are reaching to you. anything that tells that you are that tells your any number that tells your story. The second one, I'll say conversion. Try to understand what's working, what's bringing customers from all the inquiries that you send or from all the quotes that you send out are actually converting to you. So that's the second one. The third one will be retention, because we all know that it's cheaper to sell to a loyal customer than get new customers. So yeah, or even refer the referrals. Who's who's brought to you new customers? That's all. Those are three metrics that I will suggest. Um, yeah, and keep in mind that what we do in marketing is nothing fixed. So it iterates all the time. We need to know what, and it's something, I'm quoting an ex-boss that I had back in my country. He was a maniac about numbers and measurements. Really, every Monday I was very scared because I had to present all my numbers before I can speak about an issue that I found. So I have to present that in numbers. But I got that mindset that what you can measure, you can improve. And marketing, it works the same way. So learn from your experience, test, and then once you test again, improve whatever you fail on. Yep.
Awesome, thank you. And we have a final question for the group. If a business owner can only do one thing to improve their marketing over the next 30 days, what should it be?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of reiterating what these guys are all saying, I think. As a small business owner myself and Jarret as well, working in a small business, I think it's a matter of building balance. And it's really easy to get overwhelmed quickly with all the things and all the platforms that you could or should be doing. So I think you need to be really clear and, like Jarret said earlier, on who your audience is. You'll hear that reiterated over and over, I think, by all three of us, and on most podcasts or whatever it is that you choose to listen to. So it's important. So I would spend some time on learning a lot about, as much as you can, about who your audience is and what problems that you are solving for them and what their pain points are. And once you're clear on that, then establish a couple goals. And that's where the spokes on the bicycle wheel I was talking about, you don't need to fill all the spokes right now. You will suffer from burnout very quickly. But maybe start with something basic and choose a couple channels and a couple new avenues. Maybe it's trying a new workshop or hosting an event. Event marketing is increasingly one of the most effective marketing strategies coming into 2026 because there's such an overwhelming amount of digital content out there that human connection at events like this, or little workshops like a candle making shop or a Pilates candle class, candle stretch class, is becoming more and more important because you're able to build that connection in person with your potential audience and potential clients. So event marketing is one of the things I would look more into, but again, picking a couple new avenues of how you can help with your overall marketing strategy, and that might even start as the basics of just consistent branding across all your platforms. How does your website look? How does your social media look? How do your social media posts look? Are they pink one day and then purple or black or red the next day? I would look at that. Start with the basics, and that's a win. Start there, and then start to try some new things, and if it works, continue doing it. If it doesn't work, move on to something else. But I think, like I said, the clear on your audience, clear on your goals, choose a couple things you can do and focus on that allows you to reflect and measure the results of the effectiveness. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And we know that as business owners and in large organizations, time is the one thing that we never seem to have enough of. So you need to be strategic about how you're going to be using it.
I would say the same. It's getting to know your customer. And it'll sound repetitive, but that's where you will find what they think is valuable for them, that you can present a solution or a product or a service. And that would also let you understand what other products you can bring on the table as a solution for the problems. And that leads to a segmentation. So we're start to getting into different, in a circular activity, where you're gonna find another issue, or you have a challenge now to create a different product, or maybe a alternative product of what you have already customized for this specific solution or that you want to solve. So yeah, it's very important. If you're a small or a medium business, of course, the bigger you get, the more complicated it gets, and the more tools you require, right? If you are a medium business or a bigger business, you still want to get to know your customer, and for that you can use other tools like a CRM tool, for example, which we are implementing right now in the company that I work for. And yeah, that's the most important thing, getting to know your customer.
I don't know if I'd add anything new. I think you guys kind of nailed it. It might just be the approach. I think if I just say one thing you have to do, I think it's just what they said, but like, take a risk and do something different, because I just feel like safe marketing is never effective marketing, and you just end up sounding and looking and acting like everybody else. But if you can take a risk, and I'm not saying necessarily in terms of being edgy or offending people, I'm more step out and do something new. And you know, Brooke mentioned event marketing, which is a fantastic way. There's a lot of risk in terms of investing to set up an event like this, not knowing who's coming or is anyone coming. But I would just say in all of that, do something different outside your comfort zone, because that's what's going to get you seen and noticed and heard.
Amazing. Thank you all for that incredible insight. We are now going to pass it over to the floor for a Q&A. So if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask our panelists, feel free. I think there also might be a mic going around too, or just shout. Either one is good. Just shout. I'm going to kick it off the question. I actually really like this question. How can a business stand out in Thunder Bay's unique market compared to larger cities? As we like to say at the CDC, small city, big possibilities.
I may have an idea about that. So what I find with the smaller businesses or smaller towns is that, as I said before, the authenticity and the consistency. Larger companies or bigger companies, they are more focused on scale and volume, right? So they lose this personal touch, while a small business can be focused on relationships, on building that relationship, on being that close to your customer, and that is right away a barrier, right? And the other thing is when you are a local business, you have the hometown advantage.
Of course. How can a business stand out in Thunder Bay's unique market compared to larger cities?
I'm going to answer before you take my answer. I think consistency, maybe. I think a lot of local businesses that have been passed down through generations can rely on have been in Thunder Bay for the last 50, 60 years, and so they have repeat customers, and they can kind of sometimes go lax on the marketing. But when you step out and actually invest in the marketing and look consistent, I'm not even talking about video, like, you know, just in terms of what Brooke offers, like, I think that consistency, like, I can look at the Kubota table or the Jones table, and I can picture all what your ads and brands all look like. I think when we can get to that point in a town like Thunder Bay, that goes a really long way.
How can businesses make use of AI tools without losing their personal touch, such in marketing?
There's a lot of ways, like Jarret said. I personally find it super helpful for communications, even internally and externally, especially if anyone has gotten a 3-paragraph long email that just seems to be repeating itself, and you're trying to figure out exactly what the outcomes are. And so I toss that into chat or something, and I'm like, can you please bullet point the main points? And I find that super helpful. Even after a brainstorming session with a client, I think I use it more for organizational effectiveness and communications. It definitely has helped, with, like Jarret said, from a marketing perspective, but internally as a solopreneur, I think just helping organize thoughts and files and break down communications for key work, like bullet points and just effective communication is where I have seen the most benefit. So I don't know if that's necessarily marketing, but it's definitely a starting point
Absolutely.
for the outcomes of marketing.
I think I can close that saying that AI it's very helpful, but there's one thing that you don't need to let AI do for you, which is replace your personality. We've been pushing all together, saying be authentic, be consistent. Yeah, use AI to draft your post, to generate ideas or to analyze trends, but don't let AI replace your own voice. Just give it a look before you hit publish, and that'll be a good advice.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys all so much. So thank you, Brook, Hernan, and Jarret for sharing such practical and inspiring insights. The key takeaway here is that marketing doesn't have to be complicated. It has to be clear, consistent, and customer focused. Let's give our panel a round of applause. Thank you.